Welcome to another movie plot and enjoy the memories. It begins at a retired ninja's cabin in the woods, where each year Tanaka spends the summer training his grandsons. He uses a reed to wake up the 11-year-old Jeffrey and his 1-year older brother Samuel to keep their senses sharp. But the 6-year-old Michael only wakes when somebody messes with his candy. Tanaka's trained the kids in the art of ninjutsu their whole lives and has them run simulated assassinations on himself where the three try to take out Grandpa, but the agile oldie's too experienced and introduces them to the use of smoke bombs to escape. This year Tanaka presents the boys with their new ninja names and colorful attire that go along with them. Samuel becomes Rocky because he's as strong as a rock and at breakfast describes a ninja as disciplined and good. Jeffrey becomes Colt because he's rebellious like a young horse and describes a ninja as fast and efficiently uses their environment. And Michael becomes Tum-Tum because he always eats and has learned that a ninja never fights a battle that he can't win. When they ask about seeing their father, Tanaka tells them that his stepson's a very busy man as we jump to the boy's father Sam going undercover on a sting operation for the FBI. He delivers another undercover agent to a meeting with arms dealer Hugo Snyder pretending to want to buy a warhead. But when they try to bust Snyder he knocks out the agent for a human shield and orders his ninjas hiding in the rafters to distract the officers. He learns that the money he's been paid with is fake and takes out his anger on 2 officers before being captured on the roof by Sam. A helicopter filled with henchmen rescue him and fly him back to their hideout while Sam's left to continue his investigation. At Snyder's headquarters his bodyguard Rushmore looks like this while it's his dweeby assistant Mr. Brown that he uses to hold the pads. He hears Sam's the son-in-law of his former master Tanaka and decides to visit him on the boys' last day of summer. Their lunch is ruined by the arrival of Snyder's army of ninjas who have come to test if his old master has still got it. Defying their grandfather's orders to stay inside the house, the boys lead some of the ninjas away from Grandpa who fights off multiples at a time. Unlike their attackers, the 3 kids use Tanaka's teachings of the environment to weaponize it during their fights. Like the strands in a rope they work together to overcome the larger enemies who all attack one at a time. After they're victorious Snyder congratulates Tanaka who was once his partner before Tanaka learned of his crimes and left the dojo. He warns Tanaka to get Sam off his back and shows that he's become a lot stronger than his master at the ninja's current age. Because of this the boys are shown a training dummy with the points that'll cripple an enemy but told only to use it in life-threatening danger. After an hour of this the boys return home to their typical suburban neighborhood where their father's talking to his partner Jerry. He hates martial arts despite having married a ninja's daughter Jessica, so he's not enthusiastic when the boys try to tell him their new names. He leaves for work again while Rocky talks with his crush from next door Emily and Tum-Tum has to listen to the awkward conversation. That night the boys stay up late as Rocky talks to Emily through his walkie-talkie and his brothers torment him for it. They've got their own ninja alarm like Grandpa, but this one's to alert them when Mom's coming so they can pretend to be sleeping. Meanwhile Snyder decides to kidnap the boys until he's made his arms deal and tells Brown to hire some outside help. He recruits his surfer nephew Fester and his equally dim-witted friends Marcus and Hammer to do the task. The petty criminals first rob a corner liquor store then drive over to the house but find it swarming with FBI agents and decide to wait it out. The next morning the boys ride their bikes to school with Emily when Fester and his crew decide to follow them and snatch them off the street. But they're distracted by the boys' sweet jumps and crash into the rear of a police officer's patrol car. The ninjas notice that Emily becomes separated from them, and return to find that she's had her bike stolen by a group of bullies and gets mad at Rocky for showing off with his brothers. At school Colt and Rocky challenge the bullies to a game of basketball since they aren't allowed to fight. They wager their own bikes as a bet to win back Emily's and even give the bullies a lead before effortlessly taking back control of the game. But the bullies begin to cheat to win, so Colt and Rocky decide to just kick the crap out of them but are prevented when recess ends. When the Fester triplets are released from jail the frustrated Snyder demands they get the boys before midnight when he meets his client to sell the warhead. Rocky, Tum-Tum and Colt are home that night with a babysitter while their mother goes out to dinner and their father works late. The inquisitive of the trio goes through Sam's work and recognizes the criminal in father's case as the same man that attacked Grandpa the other day. The boys begin wondering if Tanaka is actually a bad guy when Fester, Marcus and Hammer show up dressed like delivery boys. They subdue the babysitter with a pizza and lock her in a closet, which Colt witnesses, and since they cut the phone lines Rocky attempts to use his tin can to tell Emily to call the police, but Colt convinces them to take care of the gang themselves to show their father that their ninja training is worthwhile. Colt sprays his mask white and turns his gi inside out to blend in with the environment, and Rocky locks the intruders inside the spare room with the ninja. He uses their stupidity against them to beat each other up while Tum-Tum and Rocky set up booby traps throughout the rest of the house. When the war zone's ready, Tum releases the captives and the 3 take them through their house of horrors where they fall over themselves trying to catch the kids. Colt takes on Hammer and Marcus alone to keep them preoccupied while Tum-Tum creates a smoke bomb out of chili powders. Rocky fights Fester upstairs and makes a noose with his father's formal ties that he uses to straight up lynch the kidnapper. When Marcus and Hammer finally decide to draw their guns, they're bombarded with chili to the face, causing them both to go partially blind. Then, using a cola laced with laxatives, Tum-Tum tricks the pair into drinking the whole cup of sabotage before finding the barely living Fester. He's now resolved to kill the little buggers instead of kidnap them, and tricks Em into coming over when he discovers Rocky's radio. They use her as a hostage, but the sidekick's laxatives kick in and they leave Fester alone with Emily to confront Colt and Rocky. He asks them where the third one is, when Tum-Tum suddenly attacks him from above and Emily lands the finishing blow on Fester. They then go defeat his already weakened friends using their environmental weapons and free the pizza-covered babysitter, when Brown and Rushmore enter, having come to finish the job and easily overpower the kids. When their parents get home, Sam has the FBI crawling all over the crime scene while Jessica receives a note from Emily by Snyder about the boys. He just wants the FBI to remain away from his arms deal that's going down tonight, and he'll let the boys go tomorrow. But Tanaka arrives in his ninja gear and offers to rescue them as he's located Snyder's headquarters to be on board a ship in the harbor. Sam still refuses for their safety, but when he turns away for a moment, Grandpa slips away like the ninja he is. He takes out a guard and sneaks inside while the boys are taken on board and witness the henchmen training the same style of ninjutsu that their grandfather taught them. Because of this and the photo in Sam's office, Colt's convinced that Tanaka gave them to Snyder, unaware that he's fighting his way through the cargo ship of ninjas to rescue them. Thinking they're on their own, Rocky pretends to be a guard calling from the kid's cell to test the phone connection. The guard at the door hears the ringing phone and thinks that it's for him, entering unaware of how dangerous these kids are, and gets knocked out, allowing them to escape. They fight their way through the ship trying to find their way out until eventually getting cornered in the workshop. After they makeshift together some weapons like a pair of nunchucks, the three beat the inexperienced ninjas senseless as they're unaware of their environment. They then come across the most extra ninja on the ship who does all of this, just to be equally as environmentally illiterate, and rush straight into a steam vent released by Colt, who then picks up his sword to shred the ninja's clothes before leaving him for Tum-Tum to finish off. When they come across Tanaka, the boys still think he's working for Snyder until he saves them from an attacking ninja, who are unable to draw their swords in the confined space and are defeated by the old man except for Brown, who knocks himself out by accident. The boys continue into the ninja's onboard dojo where they're surrounded and the final fights of the movie take place. Henchmen come flying in from the sidelines, all equally as incompetent as the next, including these two who try power up before having their clocks cleaned by a 50-pound child. The army of ninjas are defeated when the boys are confronted by Rushmore, who takes everything they can throw at him with ease. Tanaka reminds them about the pressure points and the three ninjas light up the professional wrestler like the training dummy back home. He collapses to the ground in defeat when Snyder's men decide to just forego their training and draw guns, but Grandpa leaps down to defend them and is met by the arrival of his old apprentice. Snyder challenges his old mentor to a fight for the kids' lives, and they battle with their fists until switching over to swords for a brief moment. The younger ninja manhandles the old warrior until Tanaka turns the tide and is about to win, so Snyder cheats by throwing a chili bomb in his eyes, an idea which he got from the kids. When it seems that Snyder is about to win, Tanaka uses the jelly beans that Tum-Tum gave him in their huddle before the fight for good luck and sticks them down the bragging Snyder's throat. While he's choking, Tanaka defeats his old apprentice and shows him mercy instead of finishing him off, but in his frustration Snyder grabs a gun and takes aim at the group but is shot in the arm by Sam and the arriving FBI. The gang are all arrested as the heroes receive medical treatment, and Sam apologizes to his father-in-law for not trusting him. He says that the boys can spend every summer training and tells Jerry to fill out the reports himself to spend more time with his family. The final scene shows that Tum-Tum's the only one with a bike anymore, as the others still haven't got them back from the bullies. When they see them next, Rocky's given the go-ahead from Emily to show off this time, and he beats the biggest bully up, causing the others to scatter like roaches. They retrieve their wheels and ride to school victorious as the song Kid Power plays in the background. And the movie ends.